I know it can be frustrating to muscle through the water when other swimmers in the pool seem to be gliding by and making it look so easy. How in the world do they make it look so easy? Well, swimming isn't just about getting from one end of the pool to the other any way you can. It's about efficiency and reducing drag so you can move through the water like a torpedo. I said it before and I'll say it again, the water is 800 times more dense than air. If you're doing something wrong, you're going to slow down way more and get really tired in the process because the water is so thick. With the right technique, you will swim faster with less effort, which makes it easier to swim longer distances without getting tired. Now I'm going to share 6 different things that you can do to improve your swimming. We're really going to focus on freestyle, but first we need to break down how to actually get faster in swimming, and that really comes down to 2 things: decreasing drag and increasing propulsion. When you start to swim faster, it's actually because you've done a little bit of both of these. Increasing propulsion is pretty straightforward. You need to increase the power of your pull, your kick, and your underwaters so that you can go faster and further with each pull and every stroke that you take. Now you can do this in the pool. You can also complement in the pool with out of the water training to build muscle and power. Now you can also work on increasing your stroke tempo or your kicking speed, but we'll talk about that in another video. Now decreasing drag is the other component. Now this can be difficult, but not as difficult as increasing propulsion, and that's what we're going to focus on. Good swimming technique minimizes drag in the most efficient way. I think about drag like swimming with heavy clothes on. It's slowing you down and you feel like you're drowning. Well, if your technique is bad, that's essentially what you're doing. You're just slowing yourself down. Now, I've actually tried this before. I swam in a full business suit and I tried to see how fast I could go compared to a normal swimsuit. And if you haven't checked out that video, it's a ton of fun, so make sure you check it out. Now, most of the tips in this video are going to be focused on decreasing drag. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, the first thing that you need to do is to make sure that your body position and head position are on point. I see so many swimmers who are struggling to get faster, and a lot of it just has to do with a poor body position. So let's fix it. When you swim, you want to be high in the water. That means your hips are close to the surface of the water. The lower your legs are, the more drag you're going to create as you move, and therefore the slower you're going to swim. Now, to improve this, a good place to start is your head. Now, generally your body position will follow your head position. So if you're looking forward and you're looking for the wall, your legs are going to sink. Don't worry, the wall isn't going anywhere. So instead, just focus on having a neutral body position and neutral head position where your eyes are looking down. Now, this will encourage your hips to float closer to the surface, and it's going to make it easier for you to swim. Now, it might feel kind of weird to just not look at where you're going, but remember, the wall's not going anywhere, and that's what the black line on the bottom of the pool is for. When you reach the tee, you know you're close to the wall. Next up is the catch and pull phase of your stroke. With a few quick fixes, you can increase the power and efficiency of your pull by a significant amount. Now let's start with the hand entry. In freestyle, your hand should enter the water about 18 inches or about a half meter directly in front of your shoulder. You want to enter the water with your middle and ring finger first. Imagine there's a line that runs from the top of your head down through your toes. Try not to cross this with your arms or your hands at any point. This imaginary line could be a laser. If your fingers cross it, boom, chopped off. No more fingers. So in order to swim faster and keep your fingers, don't cross that center line. Now, after your hand enters the water, stretch out as far as you can. Use rotational momentum to really reach and grab a few more centimeters and inches to increase the distance of your stroke. Now, in freestyle and backstroke, your body's rotation can actually help you stay afloat and increase your distance per stroke. Once you're there, it's time to start pulling. Initiate your pull with a high elbow. Keep your hand, wrist, and forearm in line as you pull with a straight pull pattern. Keep that elbow high all the way through. And when I say elbow high, I'm referring to the early vertical forearm. This is often referred to with the EVF. And this essentially turns your hand, wrist, and forearm into a giant paddle so that you can pull more water. Pulling with a straight arm isn't the right way to do it, and it's also going to be tough on your shoulders. As you pull, keep your hands somewhat relaxed with a slight space between each of your fingers. It may seem weird, but that space can actually help you swim faster. As your pull ends, you're entering the recovery phase of your stroke. Keep that high elbow as you return to your starting point. To practice your catch and pull, try the fist drill. Swim freestyle with your hands in fists, which will make you work for that early vertical forearm. Try a few 25s and 50s, and you'll definitely feel the difference. Next up is breathing. For so many swimmers, breathing can be a real struggle. You can't figure out when to breathe, how to breathe, inhale, exhale. You sink every time you lift up your head. Now, if that sounds like you, listen up. The first order of business, don't lift your head up when you breathe. Remember, your hips will follow your head position. So when your head goes up, your hips will sink. And we don't want to have those heavy hips. Avoid turning super far when you take your breath. If you find yourself looking at the ceiling or the sky right above you when you breathe, you've rotated way too far. Instead, focus on keeping one eye in the water and one eye out of the water when you breathe. I know that sounds difficult, but yes, one eye under the water and one eye over the water. Trust me, as you move forward, your body's actually going to create a small air pocket, and that's just big enough to squeeze in that breath. Make sure you exhale while your face is in the water, and I recommend exhaling out of your nose. Now, some people prefer to breathe out of their mouth, but just do whatever makes you comfortable that you can do consistently. My last tip for breathing is to find a breath pattern that actually works for you and stick to it. A lot of swimmers breathe every 2 strokes, and others breathe every 3 or 4. Whatever helps you maintain a consistent pattern, that's the goal. When you stay consistent with your breathing pattern, you get less tired because you're giving your body a steady supply of oxygen and your body knows what's coming. To work on your breathing technique, try the paddle drill. Place a hand paddle on the crown of your head and swim freestyle. Now, your forward momentum is actually going to keep the paddle in place, and you'll be forced to do a proper breathing technique. Now, if that sounds difficult, it's not as hard as it looks. The faster you swim, the easier it is to keep the paddle on your head. Now, next up, I want to focus on your kick. When you think about your freestyle kick, it should come from your hips and not your knees. So if you're bending your knees a ton every time you kick, you definitely need to stop that. You want to think about your kick in that you have 2 straight legs. Your legs are almost absolutely straight, your toes are pointed, and you have this really long surface area to pull the water with. When you kick, your knees should only bend a little bit, but not too much. Next up, I want you to think about how wide your kick is. You might be thinking that the more power and the bigger your kick is, the faster you're going to go. And that's true only to a certain point. The bigger you go, the more drag you're actually creating, and that negates the increase in propulsion. So try and keep your kick to no more than 12 to 18 inches wide. If your kick amplitude is larger than half a meter, it's too big and you're actually going to slow yourself down. It's better to have a short and fast kick rather than a slow one. Just like your breathing, choose a kicking rhythm that works for you and stick with it. A lot of swimmers will have a 6-beat kick, and that means taking 3 kicks for every 1 arm stroke. A lot of other swimmers will only kick 1 time for every arm stroke. So whether you kick 1 time per arm or 3 times per arm, as long as you can find a pattern and a rhythm that works for you, that's the goal. Now, we can't talk about swimming faster without talking about streamline. Streamline is potentially the most important word in swimming. It's the foundation for every single stroke. Streamline is also the fastest body position in the water because when you do it right, you have the least amount of drag. I mean, think about it. You're like a torpedo moving through the water. You're compact. You have no resistance. Now, you can practice your streamline position right now. That's right. Stand up, squeeze your arms together over your head, point your toes, get up there, engage your core, squeeze your legs, and that's the perfect streamline. Make sure your biceps are squeezing behind the ears, and there you have it. Forget about the world looking at you kind of crazy. That is the streamline position. Now, when you push off the wall, imagine your body is like a torpedo rocketing through the water. Add in a few dolphin kicks and your push-off's gonna go even further. Just like your freestyle kick, you don't want to overdo your dolphin kick. Instead, keep it short and fast. To work on your dolphin kick, set a goal to take a certain number of kicks every time you push off the wall. Whether it's 2, 3, 5, or 10, pick a number that's challenging but doable and get going. Now that we've taken care of all of this technique discussion, we need to put it in practice. And if you don't work, it's not gonna work. Even the best swimmers in the world get tired at swimming, but that's because they're pushing themselves hard. Once you get in shape and you have great technique, swimming easy isn't gonna make you that tired. Instead, you need structure and intensity, and that's what's going to push you to improve your performance. To get there, that's what the MySwimPro app is all about, getting a personalized training program, and that's geared toward your specific swimming speed, skill level, and having specific drills, workouts, and technique to help you improve your speed and performance. If you have the Apple Watch or a Garmin watch, you can not only track your improvement over time, but even better than that, you can put the coach right there on your wrist, guiding you through the workout set by set, just like a coach would on the pool deck, but they're right there in the water with you. Remember, what gets measured gets improved. If you're ready to start training, head over to the link in the description and download the MySwimPro app. Now, if all this stuff seems like a lot, it's because it is, but you don't have to make it that complicated. Instead, work on technique, improve little by little, and you'll see amazing results. Improving takes time, so be patient and stay committed to your plan and your goals. It's about getting 1% better every single day. Choose 1 or 2 things to focus on for each workout and each individual set. Get yourself out of your comfort zone and push yourself to be better. So what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments if you have any tips or tricks to get you started. If you like this video, you're gonna love the 5 most common freestyle mistakes. Thanks again for watching, and happy swimming.